What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the show recap with Mo, where we're getting ready to get into another episode breakdown of Tyler Perry's The Oval, alright? But before we get into this thing, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss shit that's going down right here. So the episode we're getting ready to recap very quickly is Season 5, Episode number 5, titled Something to Hide. Now, the synopsis for this episode states, while Jason realizes he can no longer hide, Hunter finds Victoria in a compromising position. Dale assists Allan as he realizes he may be a part of a bigger scheme. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this thing. Alright, y'all, so we start this episode off where we left off. Victoria was in the middle of a situation. She and Eli were about to get it in, or were they finishing? I don't know what it was, but anyhow, Hunter came in and she was all up in the air. That's all. That's all I'm gonna say. And then it had to stop. He's like, "What the hell is going on?" Like, bro, you grown, you know. You know what's about to go down, or what was going down before you came in and interrupted. So if you would kindly just leave, that's what Victoria wants to do. Eli's over here hiding his head up under the pillows and shit, hoping that he doesn't get discovered by Hunter. Now, the thing for me is, this scene went on a little bit too long, if you ask me, because, I mean, it is what it is. It was what it was. But to go through this whole process talking about who was it, tell me who it was, and then you are delusional at the same time because you're not feeling well. You're not feeling 100%, but you're still trying to fight through it to figure out who it was. Oh, it was Sam. Well, I'm going to get him. So you're just throwing up names at this point, Hunter, and you really don't know who it was. So that's a little bit ridiculous. On the flip side of it, Victoria is pissed off because she did not want this to get out. Not in this manner. Because truth be told, I honestly felt that she possibly had a plan to, get rid of him completely. Definitely if he stayed out a little bit longer. But with him waking up too soon, catching her in the act, now she's going to have to respond differently. So it is what it is at this point. Moving on from there, we head over to the jailhouse where we see Allan fighting for his life, literally, right? So we see him calling for the guards. Nobody is coming. He's fighting, and then all of a sudden, Cal and Desiree walks in. Now, they grab both of the guys. They take Allan out of the cell, and they tell old boy to calm down. Eventually, Cal lets him go. He allows him to stand over there near the bed. Nothing is said at all, so I thought that was a little bit strange. And then all of a sudden, they take Allan to an interrogation room. So we'll talk about that a little bit later, right? So next, we head back over to the White House where we see Max is now coming over to the main hall where Bobby is standing along with another guy that's securing the entrance to the upstairs passageway, right? And he relieves old boy standing with Bobby. So Bobby's like, "What in the hell are you doing?" He was like, "No, we're good. Bobby's like, "No, you're supposed to be over there with Hunter, like watching out, making sure everything is good over there." Max is like, "No, trust me, we're good. Everything is settled." And eventually it gets to the point where he's like, "Look, the president is good. He's up. He's awake." And Bobby's like, "What are you talking about? I've been standing here the whole time. I haven't yet to see him at all." He was like, "Look, he's a little weak. I'm quite sure he wouldn't have taken the steps." Like, right, Bobby? Like, think about that for a moment. So obviously he took the elevator. He was like, "Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense." Anyhow, going on from there, Max is like, "Hey, is he still up there talking about Eli?" Bobby's like, "Yeah, he up there. Like, leave it alone. Like, it is what it is." Max is like, "Well, he been up there a long time." He was like, "Yeah, he has." So he was like, "Well, what do you think pretty much what they got going on?" And he was like, "Look, we ain't getting into all of that." He said, "It's a little questionable." Yeah, it is a little questionable. But you both already know what's going on. If a man is gone that daggone long and he's gone up to the residential area, then you pretty much know what's going down, all right? We don't even have to use our imagination when it comes to that. So going on from there, Max is trying to get a little more into the detail, trying to see what's going on. And Bobby's like, shh, no, calm the hell down, like for real. Because as Max was talking, trying to find out the information, Eli was on his way down the stairway. So Bobby heard him coming down, so he was like, shh, look, we'll talk about that later. Right now, we need to calm the hell down. And I'm right there with you, Bobby. Shut the hell up, bro. So anyhow, when Eli gets down the steps, after pressing his suit out and all this stuff, because he got to straighten it up, straighten his hair up a little bit because he was hiding up under the pillows and shit. He good to go. Like, he tells them both, look, I'm ready to go home. And they said, okay, good. So anyhow, going on from there, we head back over to the jailhouse where we see Allan being brought into the interrogation room. So Desiree brings him in, and she's like, what in the hell happened in the cell? And it was like, what do you mean? This dude right here tried to kill me. You already saw what was going down. She was like, yeah. She was like, look, you need to allow us to assist you or to help you in this situation. He was like, I'm going to be honest. I don't trust y'all. And he said, all I need is to make a phone call to my attorney. She was like, well, were you able to make a phone call to your attorney? He was like, hell to the no. Y'all did not give me the opportunity to do so. And she was like, okay, well, as soon as he gets done, questioning your cellmate, then we'll have you, call your attorney. But I'm like, oh boy wasn't questioning him about nothing. So Allan is like, oh, I see what this is. He was like, that's your setup in there. She was like, I don't even know what you're talking about right now. He was like, yeah, you set that up. The dude that's in the cell, he feels is, in some sort of way tied to this whole situation with Cal and Desiree. So he was like, look, I don't trust none of y'all. I just want to talk to an attorney. While he's in the midst of talking, in walks Cal. Cal reassures him that they had nothing to do with this. We don't know dude from Adam. It is what it is, but he's still not trusting. Now, all of a sudden, when the conversation started to get a little more heated, Desiree was like, do you really think that we need his assistance? And then she throws Allan up on the table, and she was like, what do you think about it now? And he was like, look, get your hands off of me. I need to talk to an attorney, and I still don't trust y'all. And I'm not going anywhere with you. So nothing has changed, except his ass is going with him. Because he doesn't want to go back to the cell. So he's questioning them, but at the same time, he's in fear of Lil Bubba. You know what I'm saying? Not Big Bubba, but Lil Bubba with a ponytail. So, going on from there, man, next we head over to the Rockadushi camp. Now, we see River bringing Jason into the male's trailer. Now, in the Rockadushi camp, everybody, the sexes are separate. The men with the men, the women with the women. So, first off, Jason wasn't planning on spending the night. River is like, look, you can make your phone call in the morning. Jason ain't really trying to go with that, but he gonna chill with it for the moment. But he's probably feeling real good right now due to elder mother's cooking. What she puts in there, get you on cloud 9. So anyhow, River is like, well, you can just lay down with me in my bed. Now, as Jason is looking around, he looking just like me, like what the hell is going on in here? Because everybody in there bucket ass naked. So I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, bro. So anyhow, Jason is like, no, I'm good. No, I think I'm real good. So River is like, okay, well, you can lie down on that one. So I'm like, why in the world are you trying to entice me to lay with you when there's an empty cot over here that I can get into? So going on from there, River takes off his robe and he sits down and they get into a little brief conversation. River is like, well, tell me a little bit about you. And, Jason is like, look, man, my family is effed up. Like, there's a lot of stuff that went on, and I really don't want to get into it. River is like, well, tell me a little bit about it. Well, he goes on to say that his family really doesn't care about him. River is like, tell me about your parents. He tells him that his dad is a whore. He's chasing after all the girls and whatnot. And his mama is helping, to help with the help. With the assisting and the loading and, the cleaning up. You see what I'm saying? So, so anyhow, River's like, so you got help? He was like, yeah, I got people to assist with helping, but I'm not rich. He was like, oh, well, the highest is really going to enjoy you. Oops, did I say that out loud? I meant to say that he's really going to like to hear that you got wealth in your family or whatnot. And of course, they close out the night by saying good night to each other. He was like, good night, River, but he never takes his eyes off of River because, he really doesn't trust River, even though he's high. Well, is he high? I'm wondering about that for a moment. That would be a great question to think about. And then River's like, good night, Mike. So I was like, okay. So we'll see where that comes. Why did he put so much emphasis on Mike? Is he questioning if he's been told the truth as well? So going on from there, next we see Richard helping Sam into his house. Richard is like, what in the hell happened to you? He's like, man, it was Priscilla. Priscilla hired some goons to kick my butt or whatnot. And he was like, well, they didn't hit your face. He was like, yeah, she told him not to hit my face, but everything else is effed up, right? So anyhow, he was like, she cut off my credit cards, debit cards. I really don't have any way of getting any funds right now. Can I just kick it here with you? He was like, sure. So anyhow, going on from there, he was like, look, just give me some whiskey. I'm going to be good. Richard is like, look, I'll go ahead and join you as well. And Richard is like, look, I'm going through some stuff right now. Sam was like, tell me what's up. Like, what's good? He was like, no, I'm definitely not ready to share what went down. Nancy just told me some stuff, about getting it in with his pops or whatnot. So, he's definitely not ready to go into that one, man. But anyhow, going on from there, Richard goes on to tell him that he had the opportunity to go to the morgue to view a body or whatnot. And Sam was like, for real? And Richard is like, yeah, but it just so happened it wasn't buried. All right, so he was relieved by that. Sam was like, look, we're going to find him. We got some man on the job right now. We're going to locate him. And of course, Richard is like, okay, I just need y'all to find out something for me. But with all of that being said, Sam is like, look, that's all good, but what did Nancy have to tell you that got you so messed up right now, my brother? And he was like, look, man, I ain't even ready to go into all of that. Just know that she ain't lying. And Richard is like, well, since you want to know all of my damn business, why did Priscilla have your ass beat? Why she have all them dudes beat you up like that, man? And of course, Sam don't really want to get into it, but it is what it is, my brother. You're just gonna have to deal with it. But Richard goes on to tell him, like, look, man, you need to be careful. Actually, I think you need to let it go. Sam is like, look, bro, I ain't even come over here for all of that. And that's true. He came over there to get some rest because he got his ass beat by the men that Priscilla hired. He didn't come over there to get no advice, Richard. And Sam goes on to tell Richard about the situation that went down with the White House and Hunter, with the things on the desk or whatnot. And he was like, for real? He was like, yeah, I'm surprised they ain't called you yet. So anyhow, ain't nobody moving on the couch. They like, look, we'll find out in the morning or whatnot. So going on from there, next we see Dale at Allan's house. He's going to the spot where he told him to go retrieve the box, but don't open it. Well, of course, when Dale gets there, that's the first damn thing he does. He goes right to the box, opens it up, starts pulling the thumb drives out of the box, and then there's a little manila envelope in there as well. And then he receives a phone call, but he doesn't pick up the phone. Then he takes the box into the living room, sits down on the couch, and he sort of looks at the box, but he also looks at his cell phone multiple times, contemplating, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he's thinking about at this moment in the episode. So anyhow, the next day we see Max and Bobby. They're running in the park, exercising as usual, and of course they have to stop and talk. So Max is like, look, man, he was looking through the log last night and he noticed that there weren't any men on the second lady. And he was like, for real? He was like, yeah. So there aren't any men down there. Does that seem strange to you? Bobby's like, yeah, that seems hella strange, right? And he was like, well, what do you think is going on? Max is like, look, he did go down there. But what I really think is going on, and he was like, don't say it, bro, don't say it. And he was like, look, bro, I gotta say it. What I think is going on is the old boy is putting some butter on the popcorn. And he was like, no, man, I don't believe that. He was like, look, man, you just gonna have to think with the big head and not the small head. I need you to think honestly about this situation right now. So Bobby's like, so you really think something is going on with them? He was like, definitely. And he was like, look, what do you think they're doing? And he was like, I think they're doing the same thing, honestly, we were doing with Kyle. So I guess they're going to go on this quest to find out what's going on with the wife, see what's going down with that. Bobby's like, look, we're going to go get their ass. And they run off from there. So going on from there, we head back to the White House where we see the second lady down in the bunker. She's been visited by an agent who's been standing outside of her cell to pretty much convey to her, like, I'm sorry, ma'am, but there's nothing we can do. You're going to just have to sit this out. Long story short, she's questioning where her husband is. Why hasn't he reached out to her or to find out where she was? Like, is he not concerned? And truth be told, Miss Lady, nah, he ain't concerned at all right now. He's living his best life. Unfortunately, you're not in the picture right now. So, long story short, she's going to be left there until he comes to get her or somebody comes to get her. So going on from there, the next thing we see is Richard calling Priscilla. Now, when he calls Priscilla, Priscilla tells him that Nancy is here. And he was like, look, man, I don't really want to talk to her. I can't really see her face. She told me some stuff the other day. And she was like, what's good? Like, what's going on? He was like, you already know what this is about. She was like, no, I absolutely do not. And he was like, it's about Pinky. And she was like, okay, look, we need to learn how to let that go. He was like, no, she was having an ongoing affair. Priscilla's like, what? Like, so she knew none of this. She knew none of this was going down, and she thought it was a one-time situation, but he was like, no, it was an ongoing situation. Not only that, he was like, look, I just can't see her, but not only that, she tried to do harm to herself. And he goes in to tell her what she did. And Priscilla had no idea that none of this went down. So, of course, he was like, damn, like, for real? Like, yeah, we'll definitely have to find somebody to watch her because I'm not going to, jeopardize my job. Like, I'm not calling out. Richard is like, hell, I ain't calling out either. And it's his daggone, it's his wife. You see what I'm saying? But he ain't calling out either. So anyhow, since we're talking about wives and stuff, let's go ahead and head over to see Eli, who's been met by his motorcade. They're getting ready to pick him up from the crib when he's met by Bobby and Max. Now, Max had put together this whole little scheme to try to figure out where the second lady was. So when Eli comes out in his suited and booted, ready to go, head back to the White House, Max is like, well, would your wife be tagging along with us or whatnot? Eli is like, no, she's actually gone. Bobby takes it upon himself to ask, well, if you don't mind, where did she go? Now, Eli is looking at him like, why in the hell you want to know? So he tells Bobby that he's overstepping right now. Max, I'm a little mad at Max right now because Max is putting it like Bobby is going a little bit too far, but Ro, this was your idea. This was your idea. Now you're making it look like I'm the one that's causing the daggone problems. So anyhow, when Eli comes at him, he was like, look, you overstepping. Max comes in, saves the day, tries to throw it off a little bit, and Eli's like, look, don't worry about my business. My business ain't your problem. Well, actually it is, Eli, because they are your special agents. They are the ones that protect you and your family. So where you go, they go. And you know why, Eli? Because it's their job to know and go where you go. Unfortunately, it comes with the job, my brother. So lastly, we head over to Donald's crib to see him being informed of what happened to Allan. Now, it's been conveyed to Allan, not to Allan, but to Donald, that Allan was arrested for the drugs that he was trying to take back to the place. So Donald was pissed off about this whole situation because he's looking at the agent like, you're the reason why Allan is locked up in the first place. So you need to resolve this, and I needed to be gone expeditiously. So the agent leaves, and Donald was sitting here trying to figure out what to do next when in walks Kyle. Now, when Kyle walks into the crib, Donald's like, what in the hell are you doing here? You're supposed to be on the side of the president. Whoa. Well, Kyle conveys to him that the president is no longer in the bed. He's actually gotten up. He's walking around. He went upstairs by himself to be with his wife. right? So he thinks. So the whole thing is Donald's like pissed off about this because first and foremost, he should have known about it last night when he first heard about it, so he can put plans in place to, move forward with what they need to do to make sure that Eli is not able to get into things that he shouldn't be privy to. But unfortunately for Donald, I think he's a tad too late because he receives a phone call from the press secretary conveying to him that everything is already in motion, that they've already announced to the media that Eli is now taking the place of the main president and he's moving into that position. So Donald is like, look, we need to think of a plan very quickly to make sure that this gets resolved and that Eli no longer has access to things that he doesn't want him to have access to. So going on from there, we head over to the Rakadushi compound and we see Daikon calling out to Jason, who looks like River from the back. So he was like, River. River is not responding because it's not River, it's actually Jason. But like I stated before, it resembles River. So Daikon is getting pissed off because he was like, I know you hear me. Sort of like a parent does when their child is disobeying and you're calling their name and you know they hear you. And you sit there like, I'm a beat. You see what I'm saying? We don't condone violence on this channel. But so anyhow, Daikon is like, look, I know you hear me. And while he's going in on Jason, because Jason has yet to turn around, River's like, he's not going to turn around because it's not River. That's a guess that we have here, as a matter of fact, my brother. So anyhow, he was like, well, what does he want? So he calls out to Jason. Jason turns around, and Jason slowly looks at him, but then he's off in La La Land somewhere. I'm not sure if, elder mother's cooking is still in his system or whatnot. So anyhow, he's looking all the way around. What's his name? Daikon. Daikon is like, so what does he want? He was like, well, I'm not sure. We just found him in the woods. He was like, well, who found him? He was like, Manny found him. He was like, well, where's Manny? Manny is at the front gate. So he was like, okay, so what does he want? He was like, I don't know. So anyhow, he gets so pissed off that he tugs on Jason's jacket or whatnot. So Jason turns around and gives Daikon the opportunity to really examine his face. And he notices that he is the president's son. So he says, why are you here? And Jason doesn't respond. And then he says, you're the president's son. And River's like, what? So, like I stated before, I knew it was going to get messed up when he got into the camp because these folks right here in this camp, they uncover every stone. You see what I'm saying? There's no stone that they're not overturning. So I just didn't know how this was going to work out. And with the next episode that's coming about where you see Daikon actually conveying this information to the highest, I was like, oh, hell to the no. So there's no telling what these jokers might do right here. They might use him as, collateral. I'm not sure what they may do, but they also fear the government. So who knows how this is going to go down? The highest is crazy. Daikon is crazy. River went to lay with him. So who in the world knows what's going to happen at the Rakadushi compound? It's just all over the place right now. I do think that, Sam is going to have to figure out a way to convince, the president that it wasn't him, or will the president actually find out on his own? But anyhow, with that being said, let me get up out of here. Make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so y'all don't miss shits and it that's going down. I appreciate you guys checking out this video all the way to the end. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you guys for your support and commenting on, the videos that I post. So I appreciate you guys so very much. Also, be on the lookout for the Sisters episode 16 trailer. I'm going to release that in the morning, so be on the lookout for that. With that being said, man, I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.